Hello, everyone. It's Lady Kate with our second episode of the Lady Kate podcast. What a show we have for you this week. So, rule number one of having a podcast is to never have a relative or family member be a guest on your show. Pretty lame, right? So, we're breaking the rules this week, and the reason is going to become obvious. So, welcome to the Lady Kate show. Producer Steve, how are you?
So we're already breaking rules, and it's only show number 2.
Going rogue.
I like that, but there's good reason for it.
All right. So without further delay, today we're excited to have a conversation with my brother, Derek Cron. To others, he's known as Big Cat Derek.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine and dandy. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm in frame appropriately, because I don't know if you know, I do things on the internet. So you want to make sure that it's all looking good. There's a weird corner up here. I'm not sure what to do with
that's
that.
not
It's
one of those
distracting.
Snapchat camera filters that makes you bald.
Can you just make sure, please, just to like the corner eraser filter, Steve. Thank you very much for
the corner
that.
filter will be gone. So I love your videos. Huge fan. I can't wait to hear the whole story. But I'll let you two go at it, and I'll do the producer thing.
Sure. Thanks, Steve.
All right. So one of the things I love to do with my guests is something called rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and you got to tell me exactly what you think, like just off the cuff. So
the Battle of Lexington.
It's not going to be that hard. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, small town.
And what's the last show you watched?
The last show I watched was an episode of the Pentavariate on Netflix. That's a Mike Myers thing. It's pretty good.
Interesting. Who's
Who's
your favorite sibling?
Who's my favorite sibling? Oh, like Kate, hands down. Do
you know how many followers you have on Facebook?
No.
Thousands.
No. It's a few. It's something. I don't know. Like, well, it depends. Are you talking about like the because there's like fan accounts, but then there's your just regular personal account. If it's just like regular personal account, like I only do the friend request for people that I actually know, like I physically met in the real world. So that only has a few hundred, so yeah.
All right, and what's your dog's name? This is going to come back to haunt you later in the show.
Gibson.
No, the other one.
Poopy.
Yes.
There's a few. Well, yeah, and Bubbles. There's Bubbles too. Can't forget him. Got 3 dogs. Love them all the same.
All right.
Yes.
So just a little background about our family. There are 5 of us. I have 2 older sisters, Jenny and Nikki, and 2 younger brothers, Ray and Derek, who we all call Do, which I don't know why we call you that. Do you understand?
I don't know either.
Yeah, we have no earthly idea where that came from. It's just that's who you are. Yes.
Yeah, I because it was always like little variations of Do and Doobie and Dooberis and stuff like that, which I'm thinking that like mom and dad were just very influenced by the marijuana culture of the time. I think that's very apparent, just by their overall demeanor and disposition and just how they can. No, I have no. I'm gonna get a text. I'll get a text like, "Why did you say that?"
Right. Well, you know that. So Ray is growing like CBD marijuana plants, and they call him and his brother-in-law Cheech and Chong.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, that's pretty good.
So a fun little fact about both Derek and Ray is that they both live in tiny little towns called Bridgeport. So Ray lives in Bridgeport, Wisconsin, and Derek lives in Bridgeport, Texas, which is
that's right.
Funny. Yes.
Yeah. And they're both little. They're both little bitty.
Very tiny. So
yeah.
All right. So Derek, in Bridgeport, you and your wife Heidi have a very unique facility in Bridgeport.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about CARE and what the mission of your organization is.
Sure. My Heidi is the founder and executive director of the organization, the Center for Animal Research and Education, and I'm one of the members of the board of directors. It's a nonprofit home for exotic animals in need, primarily big cats. It's home for wayward big kitties, and we have lions, tigers, leopard. Well, I can't say leopards like plural because we only have one leopard right now. Cougars, but we have a bunch of other little things. We've got, bobcats, we've got Siberian lynx, we've got some lemurs, and just like kind of an assortment of different things. But mostly the, big ones. We got over 20 tigers, and we get them from a lot of different places. People who may have had them as pets that probably shouldn't have had them as pets, or maybe other kind of zoos, sanctuaries, facilities that may have gotten into economic difficulty and then had to shut down for whatever reason. And then we have gotten animals from people who were they were caretakers of these animals, but maybe they wanted to like retire themselves out of that world, and they wanted their animals to go to a good home. So we get them from a wide variety of different places. It doesn't matter where they come from. Like once they come to us, we give them a permanent spot to live, and we take care of them, and that's what we do. So, yeah. And well, go on.
How long has CARE been around?
Well, CARE was founded back in 2003, and I found the facility in 2006. I took on a job over in Wichita Falls, and I stumbled upon the organization, which was about an 80-mile drive from there, and instantly became hooked because it was just this kind of place out in the middle of like nowhere, Texas, and there was just all these lions and tigers, and that was neat. So I just kept on showing up, and I kept on volunteering, and then over time just gained more responsibility, and more knowledge. Spent a lot of time getting mentored by Heidi, and then we became very close friends, and then we sort of maybe kind of developed feelings for each other, and you know how that goes.
Right.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
I do know how that goes.
right.
Right. So one of the things when you and I, in our lengthy conversations that we have here and there when you're when you're doing some of your drives across Texas,
Sure.
you talked to me. One thing I thought was really interesting about the impact of COVID on the cats, because I never had thought about that. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, no, we actually had to stay closed for about 2 years because COVID can be transmitted to lions and tigers, and it may not necessarily manifest itself in like your traditional kind of symptoms, and even if they do kind of recover from it, like a lot of there can be like secondary infections. There can be like bacterial kind of meningitis type stuff, and there's been different cases in zoos and facilities across the world where suspected complications due to COVID infections had taken out, like some animals very sadly at some of these other places. And we have a lot of geriatric animals. We have a lot of older kitties. It's kind of like a nursing home for big cats, and we just couldn't risk that potential for exposure. So we had to really kind of pare down the amount of individuals that even work there. We stopped doing public tours. We stopped booking our safari suite stays, and it was difficult. It was very difficult for a while. But once we got access to it's a vaccine specifically made for zoologic animals, and it was developed by a veterinarian based kind of pharmaceutical company, and we were able to get a bunch of what is it called, samples, things, doses. Jesus Christ, right? we were able to get a bunch of things or that stuff. This little glass thing. Yeah, with the little pokey end on it, and the other part you kind of press on it. And we were able to then go and inoculate the facility. They were not happy with that because you're just walking around. It's our veterinarian, Dr. Bill. He's got a reputation amongst the cats, and it's like a long kind of punch pole almost like a pool cue that you can put a syringe at the end of it, and then like someone has to kind of be like, hey, look over here, while he's actually kind of like sneaking up and like he kind of like pokes, and then they're like, ah. So yeah, it's not they don't like Dr. Bill and his pointy stick. But yeah, we got them all vaccinated, and then we were able to open back up. So we've been doing tours, we've been doing suite stays and whatnot, and it's been interesting. It's been really interesting because, like I said, we were closed for so long. Now we're letting people back in. Just kind of like, people. There's a lot of that kind of. Who are you? Yeah. So give us money.
They thought they were bad. The cats thought they were gone.
Yeah, right. They're like, oh my God, it's friends, visitors. It's very wonderful. Thank you. Yeah.
So it is a research center. So talk a little bit about your intern program.
Oh yeah, no, the Center for Animal Research and Education. And this is the thing, we do have, and I understand like the word research can be a little bit kind of like, oh, make people kind of like initially bristly, and that's understandable, and that's fair. But the type of like research that we do has more to do with like hospice care, longevity care, like vitamin supplementation, animal behavior. We've done bite strength studies and whatnot with different professors, and so that research is very minimally invasive. We'll try like different like vitamins and stuff like that, and we've come across some pretty interesting ones and some pretty good ones that have actually helped allowed our animals to have a pretty good quality of life, like kind of going up into their golden years. Now the intern program, the education aspect, we do have interns that will come and live and work at the facility for 3 to 4 month periods. There's usually going to be like 2 to 3 at a time, and most of the time they're going to be recently graduated or soon to be graduating from uni, as they say over
The college from college.
yeah, the college, my university. Yes. But we get a lot of different majors, people that have wildlife biology degrees, animal science, people that want to do pre-veterinarian, pre-med type stuff. And we give them a crash management of that. So a lot of their responsibilities are going to include like doing daily checks on all of the animals, making sure that they don't have any sort of like new sicknesses or new injuries or new kind of whatever, new lumps. Sometimes like we actually have one. He's a tiger. His name is JP. He has a big lump like the size of like a grapefruit, like on the side of his abdomen, and that just like kind of that showed up over the course of a couple of days, and we're just like, yeah, like but you want to make sure to you want to know what the baseline for what the cats look like first before you can say like, well, that's different. Come to find out from our vet, Dr. Bill, he thinks it's just like a hydroma kind of thing, like a skin kind of fluidy kind of whatever. He even was able to kind of like like squeeze at it, and he's like, it's probably fine. So but stuff like that. They have to do like water. They give daily medications. They do food processing that includes butchering livestock that gets donated from local ranchers. They help to back us up on tours. They do cleaning operations. They learn the different types of like operational communication that we employ at the facility to ensure like safety and efficiency. Just it's a lot of very kind of on the job training, hands-on experience, and a lot of mentoring, and a lot of qualitative assessment of just like their abilities. And we try to kind of constructively push people to like a healthy limit, but without kind of overly stressing them out. But this is the experience that we get a lot of different people who they have dreams of working in like a zoological setting their entire lives, and then this is the first time that they actually get to really work in a zoological setting. And a lot of it is like farm work.
Right.
It's like you're there,
Scoop
you're
and poop.
at, yeah, scoop and poop. You're at the beckoning call and of the animals and their needs, and a lot of your personal needs have to be kind of subordinated to a lot of that type of stuff. And a lot of people, they get into it and like that because like they kind of, that's their lifeblood. They figure out like, this is what I'm all about, this is what I want to do, and it's just a reaffirmation of that thing. And a lot of people get into it and they're like, ooh, this is icky, this is work, this is not good, no good.
Well, I could imagine it's
Yeah.
probably like as far as like an internship type setting goes, it's got to be in the country, one of the most hands-on ways that, these
Oh yeah.
students can get that
Oh yeah.
exposure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
very
Yeah, it's
cool.
definitely. I'm very, very proud of the program that we have, and we're constantly updating it. We're constantly evolving it. Like Heidi's been like really working hard to like really kind of streamline and again, it's difficult to sometimes like put quantifiable metrics on qualitative like aspects, because you are like really, you're gauging people for different levels of responsibility from the minute that they arrive on the facility. Like, what type of communicator is this person? Like, are they trustworthy? Do they follow like instructions? Do they follow directions? Like, how, like, what are their facial features look like when you give them like, hey, I need you to go and do the thing, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to make a mental note of that,
Like the like the
because
Reagan eye roll,
yes, yes, yeah,
15-year-old girl.
yes. Well,
Well,
because like we're dealing with lions and tigers, and we have to have each other's back. And there are people that get within the organization that do get entrusted with maneuvering animals and like unlocking enclosures, and we have to be able to like access the animal spaces. But then you also have to make sure that the animals aren't actively in the spaces that you're trying to access, and it's a lot of simple stuff. Like, okay, there's 1, 2, 3 tigers in this enclosure, and then there's how many tigers in the lockdown? Is the lockdown locked? It is. Okay. It's like it's stuff like that, but like you can't get it wrong. You have to get it right every single time. And sometimes you'll get people that they might not necessarily possess like the maturity in that moment to handle that responsibility, and but some people they take to it and they got that it stuff, so yeah, it's
Well,
interesting.
I would imagine the cats are probably pretty intuitive also, like
Oh
they
yeah.
react to different people very differently. And I've
Yeah.
even seen that firsthand. Like you watch Heidi walk around the compound and it's like,
Oh yeah.
what? What? Like, I mean, they all kind of perk up and,
Yeah, she's mom.
yeah.
Yeah, she's mom. This like she has a sing-songy voice, which that's like kind of the funny
Mhm.
thing, because there's a lot of different people, like there's different people that work. My phone keeps on sliding down. Sorry about that. I'm on my phone. How was the video quality, by the way?
It's all
Because
right.
my computer, I had to put my phone on my laptop because my laptop is still updating. It's still updating Chrome. It's
It's a chugger. How do you like my sign?
I love it. I love it. Where did you get that? Have you
I
given them a plug?
I ordered it on the internet, the
Uh,
the the World
uh,
Wide Web. I did
Jeffrey
that.
Bezos. Yes.
Yes.
That's what. Yeah. Little known fact that Jeff Bezos, he's like he blows glass, just in his free time. It
And
helps to kind
and
of
it
like
comes
center
out
him.
yes, and it
Yeah.
comes out and it says Lady Kate every time.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, it wasn't a custom job. He just happened to have that, and you're like, oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'll call it
Yeah,
that.
yeah. How
Kismet.
convenient.
Kismet.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, you talked just this, I guess, earlier about the sweets, and
Yeah,
I've seen those before. They're pretty darn cool. What
yeah,
talk about those a little bit?
yeah. No, Heidi had the idea of having some really nice kind of high end rooms that guests could stay at, and because there's other facilities that um, they'll have like, oh, come and stay in one of our cabins, and they're kind of they're a little bit I don't want to sit there and speak ill, of anyone, but maybe the experience, the accommodations, like if there wasn't tigers like around, it might not necessarily get like the full stars on like the Airbnb reviews. So Heidi actually wanted to make something that was not only like, are there the cats right there kind of like outside your window, but like the room itself is like legitimately nice.
Oh, and
So
you get to listen to them while they're watching their cartoons.
yes, yeah, yes, we have the suites are actually they're above the lockdown area of two of our lions, Arali and Zubiri. They were born actually at the facility, and they developed a condition called wobblers, and it's basically a thing where your bones kind of grow faster than what your body can kind of fill them up with, like the necessary kind of density type stuff. Um, like large breed dogs and horses will get wobblers, and I guess lions do too. There's a genetic component kind of to it, and they got really sick, so they needed to have as they got older, as they got better, as we rehabbed them, they did need a space that had air conditioning, that had heat and whatnot. They needed to have like a climate controlled area that they could kind of retreat to, and we also put TVs in there with play cartoons that they love.
They do
A
watch
lot,
cartoons. It's
a lot.
hysterical.
Yeah, mm, we have a few TVs like sprinkled throughout the facility that are actively used on a daily basis by our cat population. And it sounds like, I don't know, it sounds kind of silly, but it's like it makes a difference. And you'll walk into some of these places and there's a tiger and they're watching How to Train Your Dragon. Just
My cat looks like that dragon, by the way.
that, right? Yeah,
Yes.
that is adorable.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's so you have a huge social media presence. You have a great YouTube channel. So I want to it's amazing what you've done. So I want to show some videos. So let's cut one.
Oh, all right.
Hello.
We'll see.
My name is Derek.
That's
and
me.
Archie is a big cat.
He is.
And you
R.I.P.
are
Archie.
watching the Big Cat Derek YouTube channel.
Oh my gosh! Look at my
A
neck.
whisper move.
Oh yeah, no. Oh, that sucked. That sucked. That's Arali and Zubiri right there when they were teeny. That is
Let's do cat thing.
Boomer. Was that Boomer?
Big cat Derek. I'm not.
Yeah. Lemurs are weird.
Derek.
I don't. They're
Cassie,
they're
I mean
fine.
it.
Whatever.
Try not to squeak.
Cassie still squeaks. She does. She's a bit older. Milo, R.I.P. I really need to update this channel thing because like a lot of these cats are not with us anymore. Like he's gone. Like we're showing we're showing a bunch of cats. Cassie's still alive, but I don't know how much longer. She's old. Yeah, she's old. This is that. I mean, and it's not. And I'm not saying like, why did you show me my video that has all of these dead? They're dead. It's like, but it's on me to like update that thing.
No, it's a great video. I love it. So
I love it too. I love it too. It's a great encapsulation of just kind of the vibe that I have on my YouTube channel. And yeah, I saw the emerging trend of all the different kind of social media stuff, and I thought, okay, well, I can try to get in on that wave, but do it a little bit differently, because a lot of people, how like a company, like Academy Sporting Goods, they have a Twitter account. And it's like, oh, well, don't forget 15% off, like Mayday sale kind of thing. And then they have like these things, and it's very well organized, and it's very like sequential and specific and tailored. And that's not me. And I'm not saying like that's bad. Like, oh my, I'm a real truth sayer. I'm not fake like those other social media people. That's not it. It's just I don't possess the ability to like be like an official, kind of social media kind of person. Our development director, Jamie Reed, like she's brilliant at that. She does really, really good, and she manages all of the official care accounts. So at Care Rescue Texas is how you can find that out on like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I think she does TikTok. Yeah. But me, I knew that I wasn't that. So I decided like, all right, well, I know I'm somewhat performative and I have poor impulse control and probably not enough of a sense of shame. And I also happen to I live and work around lions and tigers. So let's see if we can put some of that on video. And that's kind of how I approached it. So yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah, you had told me at one point you have when you were creating content, you had you had 3 clear things that you wanted to do from a visionary standpoint. What were those?
Yeah. Oh, it's almost kind of like it's almost like like a litmus test for each kind of piece of content. And this is one of those like, oh, they're hopeful goals and kind of guidelines instead of like hard and fast kind of rules. But a lot of times whenever I'm deciding on whether or not to post something, it has to meet like one of like 3 kind of metrics, and it has to either be this screen mirroring thing is messing me up. It has to be funny or entertaining, or B, has to be aesthetically pleasing or beautiful, or 3C, has to be educational, or people have to learn something from it. And if it's not one of those 3 things, then why are you posting? That's like me talking to me, like, why are you posting it? Like, what are you doing? Like have some standards, man. That's kind of how that goes. Because sometimes you get so caught up in your own schedule because it's an active facility, and then there's like the responsibilities of work and responsibilities of family. So posting different things and consistent stuff on social media can kind of take a backseat especially when you have like bigger projects or bigger things that are happening, and it'll turn into more like, oh, I have to throw something because people might forget me, so
here's what I had for breakfast.
Yeah. So then your quality control might go down a little bit. And I've been in those moments where I'm about to hit send on a post and it's like, no, like this doesn't meet any of the 3, or it very barely reaches one of the 3 kind of things. And ultimately you're just diluting your own, kind of stuff by putting out, junk. But then again, it's like, most of my stuff is kind of junk anyway. So it's like, hey, it just joins with the rest of it.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not, Derek.
No, stop.
Who's your most popular cat on social media?
Right now it's going to be Cassie. Before it was very clearly Solano. Well, it's weird because it kind of goes in phases. Cassie was extremely popular back in the Vine days. I don't know if you remember Vine.
I do.
6-second, yeah.
I have number 1. I have Cassie pants, so I have pants that have Cassie's picture on them.
I got to pour one out, I got to pour one out for Vine.
Yeah. So our oldest, who's now 24 years old, he was sitting in like English class in high school when he was like, I don't know, 15 years old, or maybe not English, whatever class it was. And he looks over and they were watching, all the kids were huddled around a desk and they were watching your Vine. You were like number 1 on Vine or number 2 on Vine or something. And he was like, he's like, that's my uncle. That's how we found out about it.
Yeah. That was a crazy ride. Of course, Vine, 6-second video sharing app that was popular amongst the youth of America for a brief flashing moment.
For about 6 seconds.
For about 6 seconds. It was on from like 2012 to 2016. Twitter completely dropped the ball and just horribly mismanaged that platform, because TikTok right now is what Vine could have been.
Right.
That's the reality of that.
Only they knew.
If only they knew. Well, if only they actually like cared about it and decided to like try to like put some TLC into the thing and like continuously update it and like look at the trends and times. And it was just other apps just passed them by, and they're just like, yeah, I guess that just happened, and they didn't even do anything. And then they're like, all right, well, no one's using this anymore. We're going to go ahead and shut it down. Like, thanks, Twitter. But I ended up, it was crazy. I ended up getting reaching 1.2 million followers on Vine, and that was weird. I was getting like recognized, like out in public. Like, who are you, Derek? And I'm like, yeah.
It's insane. Insane. So what is talk a little bit about Walk Around the Compound.
Walk Around the Compound is the webcast that I started on my YouTube channel back in 2014, and it is literally where I walk around the compound and I just talk to the cats, and then I just babble about whatever inane drivel happens to be in my head at the time, and then I interact with the cats, and I make jokes, and yeah, that's it. And well, the actual kind of format developed because, again, when like the style of social media that I was doing, when you kind of take that and then interject it into like an actual operations environment and an actual, like pretty packed schedule at a lot of times, I just got to this point where it's like, well, I can't sit there and very painstakingly produce a lot of content and edit things and make stuff look right and do all the lighting and do all the different. So what I'm going to do is actually work on just talking and work on being more of a yacker and a broadcaster kind of thing. And I know, right? And a lot of times I'll just like, I don't even write notes. I don't do anything. Sometimes I kind of have pre-canned topics that I might want to hit upon. But for the most part, I just I might be in my house and I'm like, oh crap, it's time to do a webcast. And I just take my phone outside and I just hit record and then I just go. And and then it just becomes this kind of weird stream of consciousness thing that has a lot of inside references, because then I go back and I read comments and then I'll kind of interact. I'll interact with people either through the comments or like there's a Discord and like other kind of message groups that, kind of circulate around the content. The followers call themselves the Pride, as in like a Pride Alliance,
Awesome.
So right.
So do you know what your most popular clip is?
That is, I don't know if it's, well, I know that the Noe, like Baggy and Noe one's pretty popular.
The baby tigers, right?
There, but a lot of times, not the baby tiger ones, but it might be the baby tiger ones. That one kind of, I wasn't expecting it to get as popular because it's also one of like, if you're talking about, it's one of the webcasts that actually showcases when we first got, who was it? I think it was Khan and Kona. I call him Fred though.
Well, we have the clip, so we're going to show it. Cut 2.
Okay. Oh, there's a guy named Joe that does all of my intros, and people go into the comments like, Derek, that's a great intro when he makes a new one. And I'm like,
it's
sorry,
catchy.
Joe.
I get it in my head.
Well, it's because it's like there's different. There's like a stable of like 15, 20, 25 different like intros that we use. I used to just like do a new one every single time. Yeah. So and those are too little. I know. I'm sitting here. I'm so just like baby tigers. But let me tell you about that intro. That was pretty amazing, right? It's like so cool. It's like all layered and stuff. I've done all that stuff. I've done all the other things.
Yeah, but the baby tiger, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But no, we did. That was I don't even know. There was 2 of the cats that were in our youngest group right now. They're like 2.5, 3 years old right now. So that clip was a few years ago. And that would have been Cripes when they were, maybe 6, 7 weeks old, something like that. Teeny.
So cute.
They're very cute. They're very cute, but they become problematic very quickly.
Because they try to eat you.
Well, it's just they're much like me, they lack impulse control, and they oftentimes don't know their own strength, and they can be very emotional. And then sometimes when you increase like emotional energy, the instinctual part of themselves can take over, and it just, there's too many kind of swirling factors that can lead towards like dangerous situations and just stuff that you're not wanting to be around. Yeah, there's a lot of times there's so many little weird kind of like tips and tricks and rules that you have to kind of follow whenever you're working with them. And it's great because I'll see videos online of other people who happen to, maybe they have a tiger cub or something like that, or they work with them. And there's a lot of times I'll see stuff like that. I'm like, ooh, they're gonna have that's not good. That's teaching them bad habits. Like
Yeah.
you're screwing this thing up. Like don't do that, because you really do have to look at them when they're little. When they're little bitty, you have to look at them and treat them as if they are 400 or 500 pounds, because they eventually will be. And you want them to start having the habits now that you want them to have, that like you would want them to have when they're that big. And let's say that there was some situation where heaven forbid, you're face to face with one of those cats. You still want them to like hopefully kind of fall back on some of that like early conditioning, to be like, oh yeah, I'm not supposed to do the bite thing, because
Him.
like I get told like, no, like don't do that.
So funny to think about. So, you and I have had a ton of conversations since I sort of had the thought in my tiny
Yeah,
little pea brain about starting this
you
podcast.
have a very big pea brain.
You have a big head.
I do. I actually, and I'm not even joking, like finding hats is like a struggle. It's because people try to gift them to me, and it's just thanks.
Just,
This is little, it's a little thing.
oh, that's funny.
I'll display it on my mantelpiece. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, hang it on the antlers.
Right.
Oh, so
Oh,
what advice would you give to somebody who's looking to get a social media footprint, or PED, as you would
oh
say?
man, that's a great question. Um, Golly, because I guess like well, what do you, I guess, like, really understand like what it is that you're trying to, what are you trying to accomplish, and what are you doing it for? And that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, oh, all of your intentions just have to be 100% altruistic. And that's not what I'm getting at. They can certainly be like, well, I want an enterprise, and I want to, grow a business, and I want to grow a brand, and I want to do, like, that's fine. That's fine. But like really having like an understanding of what it is that you're setting out to do, because that can that can that creates an outlined foundation that can guide like a lot of your decision matrices. And it helps to kind of like paint that target, because I mean, if you don't have like an overarching goal or an overarching vision, then you're basically just like shooting arrows into the fog, hoping that one of them is going to stick onto something that you want it to. And that's a big bit of that initial kind of piece. And then the other bit is, um, like understand. It's weird, like understanding your limits, and then understanding the times where you may have limits, or understanding the times where you don't have limits. And then there's like sometimes like it goes back and forth. There's sometimes where it's like you have to kind of push yourself. You have to kind of try to find whatever the ceiling might be for whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, or goals that you have, or whether it be like, oh, I want to learn like this kind of editing technique, or I want to be able to actually reach this many people, or I want to like do a profile on such and such topic. That's going to require a lot of research, and then it's going to require a certain type of presentation. Sure. Like you want to kind of like push yourself and flex those muscles as much as you can, but then also understand like there's certain directions where people like, man, I want to take myself into this direction, but that ain't the direction that is kind of them. It's not made up for them. And I get, it's almost like that kind of, well, because it did work out for Susan Boyle. I was going to say, You know,
She's an amazing voice.
it's a very amazing voice. But isn't it? It's kind of funny, because the whole premise behind that story was just like, can you imagine something so beautiful came out of that?
That's terrible. I know.
I
That's
know, but
terrible.
everyone is terrible for sharing that initial clip because that's what they were thinking.
Yeah.
That's what they were thinking. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm bringing just these, really negative thoughts into
But
the
there's a
Lady
lot
Kate
of,
space.
there is positive stuff that, I mean, look at Bieber came out of that. And you look at
Yeah,
the new lead singer of Journey is a guy that was just singing Journey songs
he was.
on YouTube.
Yeah. He was in a Journey cover band, and then like actual Journey people said like, "Hey, come and do
You
the
sound
thing."
pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
amazing.
So I think that like learning how to continuously try to improve and continuously try to push your limits, understand, like when I say like understanding what your limitations are, like a lot of my limitations when it comes to editing and organization became very apparent like the bigger I was growing. So that's actually why I started to like try to attract other individuals and other people to help me out. And I've got a wonderful person who does like basically is like the executive producer for all of my content. Her name is Melissa Westfall. She edits all the videos and whatnot, and she is a great kind of candlelight that, and we're able to kind of bounce ideas back and forth and then figure out what the next kind of directions are going to be. Of course, you got individuals like Joe, who like writes all the songs and whatnot. I've got different people, Tyler and Jan. They help to run a lot of like the online message boards and the discussion threads. So like learning, like, and I wasn't able to kind of do that. It's a limitation that I have to organize all of that stuff, but I can at least kind of like figure out like, well, who is best suited to do the thing. And then like, here you go. Here's this thing that I need you to do, like for the cause,
Be a
So
part of the
yeah,
pride.
yeah, right. So and I'm extremely thankful to all of those individuals who like kind of help to kind of like build up that thing. And then what it ends up doing is I know like all of the channels and all this stuff, like it's called Big Cat Derek, and like I'm the mouthpiece for a lot of it, but so much of it becomes even, I don't want to say like, oh, beyond my control, but it grows in this organic way that I'm also kind of like on along for the ride too. And like different kind of directions or different reference points that we'll kind of come up with, like we come up with it kind of organically, like, all the community. So like I said, there's a ton of like weird little asides and weird little things and weird little comments and weird little like phrases and pronunciations of words that it's all like based on like long months, years of just like adding new little, snippets to the lore, I guess you could say. Yeah.
Well, you certainly have a ton of really cool content. I mean, some of my favorites. I mean, I absolutely
My
love
lamp, my lamp just fell over.
Oh,
That's what
that's
I've been using to light myself.
bad.
Yeah,
You-
Steve
now
is
you look
you're
creepy.
Steve is like he's like, I got ring lights and I've got all this really professional equipment, and I'm like, I got a lamp and a cell phone.
Well, that's it. Like I got to tell you. I mean, I even in client meetings sometimes I'll just get off on a tangent with somebody, and I'll bring up like you're cooking for big cats. I mean, that
Yeah,
is like one of my go-tos.
yeah.
Obviously, the Gangnam Style,
I need to do
what
more
do
of those.
big cats?
Oh, yeah. I
The
need to do, well, one,
parodies.
I do need to do more of the dance videos. The people like them a lot. I get a lot of comments from different people who they say like, well, whenever I'm having a bad day, I'll watch like one of your weird music videos, which yeah.
They are funny though.
Which makes me happy. It makes me happy to know that that is a thing. And like so much of like I wanted to, I started doing all the stuff online because I wanted to promote the facility, and then that was like the main goal. Promote care, because like we weren't really getting out there. We didn't have like a big footprint anywhere. Like our donor base was just strictly like in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We relied on local media. We relied on like newspaper. We relied on like local broadcast, like the occasional local TV spot. Maybe a news organization be like, hey, you have tigers. That's neat. And I'm like, all right, well, let's just take this. Let's start taking this a little bit more into our own hands. And that was like that's the main thing. But then it's also like, well, I feel most confident being able to do this in this kind of certain way. I had that amorphous kind of like nebulous concept of like what it could look like, but I had to be kind of a part of it just because, again, it's like the way that, the weirdness couldn't just kind of stand on its own. Like there had to be a face next to be like, oh, well, yeah, that's not Care. That's that guy that works at Care. There's a degree of separation. That's And but then there was also like an auxiliary, like a secondary kind of goal that I had. That maybe I can work at my skills at content creation, work at my skills at broadcasting, at talking, at making content, and then roll that into like a potential kind of secondary kind of career, or at least a secondary kind of income stream, which that's been a thing too, so that's been really cool. So 2 for 2. Nice.
Yeah. Well, I want to show my my favorite clip to everyone.
Denied.
So cut 3.
Yeah.
Hey, Rod.
Right.
Hey, bud. Hey, bud. Hi, mister.
Oh, it's a Raleigh.
Rah, 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 rah. Hi.
No. I know which
Hi,
one this
baby
is.
boy.
I know which one this
Hi,
is.
baby boy.
I know which one this is.
I will get to
Yeah. And I was trying to do like a cool selfie thing, like, look at this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this wonderful relationship with these lions, and I love them, and they love me.
Hi, my little
And
prince fan.
aren't I special? Like, that's.
Hello.
And then this
Big guy. Oh, my God.
bastard,
Love you.
absolute, just.
Oh, my
Yep. Yep.
mother piece of.
I wanted to swear so many times. That's the thing. And I wanted to, okay. I was like legit upset. During in that clip. But I also, like, in the back of my head was like, this is gold. Like, don't swear, because then you'll like affect, like, it's a bill, like the reach.
Oh my gosh, that one just gets me every time.
But yeah, like, so like I was literally like, I was not happy at him because I trusted him. I gave him my heart in that moment, and what did he do?
He gave you a golden shower.
He did. He really did. Oh boy, this just felt so dirty, And then he put a crumpled up $100 bill down on the ground. He's like, "There you go."
At least it was a hundy.
It was. Yeah, go clean yourself up, and he just walked away.
Go get a room. Oh well.
Wow, that was really
Hey,
great.
Steve.
Yeah, that was interesting. You've inspired me, and I think I want to be big golden retriever Steve. I'm going to start my own
Big
YouTube
Retriever
channel.
Steve.
Big Retriever Steve. What do you think?
BRS.
Yeah.
Big Retriever Steve.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
Not
love
much to do. They just kind of hang out.
But see, that's the thing. And then you sometimes the cats are like that too. So that's where it's like you have to, like, build that orbit of content around them so that you can so that you can pick up the slack whenever, the retriever isn't like doing their job.
Right. Wait.
Yeah.
I thought she moved. No, she didn't. Okay.
Oh, it's like watching a glacier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this was so awesome, Derek. I am like, can't thank you enough for being on here. You're so fun to talk to. Such a good sport
I had a fun time. Yeah,
Good.
I had a really good time. Yeah, this is really great. And what you are doing, what you and Steve are putting together is really awesome. You guys have a really great production. I can see it, doing very well and going sky high to the moon. Ethan.
I'm back. Yes.
But no, I really am, happy, and I'm impressed, and I'm proud of you, and I'm excited for what you guys are going to be able to accomplish in the coming
I'm
weeks,
still
months, years.
recording, so that's good. You got all
Yeah.
that. It's
Oh
all
yeah,
recorded.
all of it.
Yeah.
All of it. So subscribe to the Lady Kate podcast. Click the link right here.
Yeah,
Oh, wait,
I
no,
can do
click
that.
the link right
I
here.
can put it there too.
There you go. Is that good? You want me to do another one?
No, that's good. That's good.
Is that good, Mr. Steve?
Amazing. Well,
But yeah, I'd be yeah, so whenever if you ever want to do any sort of follow-up stuff, I can yak about all sorts of topics. We can look at memes. This is great. We can do all sorts of different things.
oh, we will. We'll come up with some funny ideas. So this is just the introduction to Big Cat Derek. So.
Of course. Hi, lady. What are your people gonna be? Lady Catians?
I don't know.
How about caterpillars? Hey there, caterpillars.
You can't get her laughing. She still has to wrap the show up here.
I know. What's up, cater? So hey, thanks for tuning in, all you caterpillars. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, all right. Well, there you have it. So in future podcasts, we're going to be adding segments like Ask Me Anything. So just post your comments and questions below, and we'll try to answer anything in our upcoming broadcasts. And if you found this podcast helpful, give us a like or a thumbs up, and feel free to share. So take care, everyone. I've had a ton of fun doing this with my brother. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Lady Kate podcast, and I hope you all have a royal day.
Bye-bye.